We'll start off today here with just a purple, kind of a soft bluish purple, not too much red in it. And I'm gonna place in a little bit of a kind of an evening sky. It's not too much of an evening, so that's almost too much purple. Put a little blue, there we go. Back up in that sky. Up here, I've got clear gel and white just above here. I probably put it too far down, but I can always wipe with a paper towel and get some of that off. All right, there you go. Now, before we go too far, let's take a look at the paintings that you guys did in my last one. It's always fun to see what you're doing, so share using the information there on the screen. And of course, I'll get it in the next video if I see it in time. I'm gonna take just a little bit of white. I don't want much white, and I'll add maybe just a little bit of our sky color to it, maybe just a little red even. Not just sky color, but some red. I don't want it too bright. Now, I've got just a dusting of paint on the canvas. I did not wipe it off, but you could. And I'm going to use this 1-inch brush to just scrub in some subtle clouds. I don't want terribly large. Well, I mean, yeah, they're fairly large. I don't want terribly like great, ooh, crazy clouds. You know, I want subtle clouds. I don't even know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying, though. We'll just keep on working our way across. Obviously, my mountains are fairly tall today, and so I won't have a lot of this peeking through, but I will have some peeking right over the mountain, and I think that'll be nice. Now, as you can see, I've got a basic sketch of a mountain up here, which definitely works. And it just lets me put in the spots of shadow snow where I want them without having to do the whole mountain. I'm going to throw some rocks up and through here, and I've got those mapped out. Of course, I know where they are because I've mapped them out, but you know, it's kind of hard to tell, but once the mountain begins to take shape, you'll see where I'm going with it. And light's coming across like this, but it's only going to hit like right here, and you know what I mean? This is going to be in shadow down here because you have to imagine the rest of the mountain wrapping around, which is cool. I like that. We'll just continue to fill in here. There we go. And it's easier to leave these spots open for the rocks rather than paint it all in because there's less layers of paint that you have to worry about. Well, there you go. Now I've got a bit of a warm pink color kind of mixed up for this area. There we go. See that? Actually could go just a little bit more on the pink side there to make it feel a little bit more evening time. You know, after this is all in, because I am using this pink and I'm using purple, very little blue in this, although there's blue in the purple. I probably can come back with a detail brush. We'll maybe try it and get just a little bit of like an orangey kind of glow on this mountain. I think would be really pretty if we don't get green. And it will be not so good if we get green. So that's why I want to be kind of careful with it. Now I'm going to bring in just a few bits of rock texture here, which will be good. This will really make a big difference, I think, to the overall look of the mountain. You could certainly leave this out if you're not wanting to do rocks in addition to snow. It could just as well be just snow. But I think today this is going to be nice, you know, to have that extra interest and whatnot going on in the mountain. As I remove some of this paint, not only can I add, I kind of messed up my sky, but that's okay. Not only can I add more on top, like, you know, rock details and highlights and whatnot, but I can actually add snow over that without becoming a muddy mess. I can bring out a couple more shadows, but most of this is just staying on the canvas now. See that? Isn't that great? Now I'm placing some more shadow around these rocks. Of course, I'm able to do that because I wiped the canvas off. And you can see if you kind of, well, I don't know how, it probably comes over pretty well over the video, but you know, for me, if I squint my eyes, I can see the big basic shapes, and that's how you have to paint sometimes with your, I'm not joking, with your eyes squinted. It makes a big difference, or else you can stand way, way back and try to paint. Because what I'm doing is I'm looking at my sections of light and dark, and I'm trying to get this effect that, you know, that there's a shadow being cast, you know, in this little valley here. And I'm getting that effect here. I'm starting to get it. I like this darker purple now that I'm working in. It's more or less just because it began to mix with the brown some, not a lot. And it's, you know, got a little darker, so I went with it. I just darkened it up a little. There's my purple right there. Darken it some to help overpower that brown, because I'm still mixing a little. And I'm very pleased with it. Now I'm going to highlight this little extra mountain. I'm just showing you because I'm using a different color. It's really the same old idea as these mountains here, just a different shape. And the color is kind of this ochre, goldeny color, something like that. There we go. I think that works. And it wouldn't hurt to, if possible, probably not that brush, but with a little detail brush. If I can actually get in here with a little of this yellow ochre color. Of course, it looks bright over there. It looks dark over there. Let's mix up a better one. A little brighter, even touch of our lighter yellow. It looks more kind of golden and sunlit like the evening, which is more or less what we wanted. It not like a sunset, but just a almost evening. That's definitely what we're going for, is almost evening. So just sprinkle that in. You would expect to see some sort of light here. Now I'm going to tap in what's going to end up being trees. So there's very little paint in this area. And so if you want mist, we're going to want mist. You're going to have to add it in as an after thing. Not an afterthought, it's an after thing. There you go. Let's just bring in a few trees. Now, obviously, this is about the most of a basic way you could... I'm going to go ahead and put some mist in there probably before I put my trees over. But this is the most basic way you could paint a tree. And I'm not going to just leave it this way. So it looks a little bit evening time, a little bit of warmth even in stuff like this, which ordinarily would not have any warmth to speak of. Again, very dry and scratchy, but that's just the way it is. You work hard now, highlighting will be easy. Now, right over top of these darker trees, and I know they'll get a little muddy, and I'm okay with that, but I'm going to put in just some stippled highlights, some textures. This is not highlighting evergreen trees. These are picking out some autumn colors here, even in, you know, just kind of tucked in and around the trees here. And so it's not solid. It'll just be pockets of this color, and I think that's pretty. It ties in with some of the other colors going on within the painting. So there you go. I'm not going to go crazy with it. Just a few colors. I'm going to go ahead and bring in just a little bit of a grassy color, a mid-tone. This is definitely no shadow. Just a mid-tone. And again, it has some warmth in it. There you go. You see my color right there, a little warmth. It's still green. I don't want it to be brown. I definitely want it to look green. And just a gentle slope down here toward the land, or toward the water. It's all right, I'm concentrating. There we go. And I'll just see, I can just take and brush all this, just go right over all this and blend it, soft, smooth transition there. Now I'm going to remove this shop towel here, and you see a lot of that oil is absorbed. You only have to leave it up there a couple minutes. Don't do that too long, or bad things can happen. Mainly what that did was flatten the texture of my trees. They were previously very thick, you know, physically coming out this way, and I flattened them back in because they're background trees. That helps a lot. I don't like too much, unless it's a palette knife painting, then everything changes. I don't like too much texture in my background. I feel like it just competes. If you're going to use texture in an oil painting, and you should definitely use texture in an oil painting, you want to use it to your advantage. Thick texture in the foreground, flat texture in the background, and you'll get a better look. I'm going to scrub in just a little bit of like a blue and white color here, a little bit of red. So it's somewhat of a purple, but it's a subtle purple, as you can see. Here's a little white, just some white added here to it. A little touch of red. So I'm just mixing, not on the palette, but actually on the canvas. See that? I just add red right to it. I can put as much paint down as I want. It's easier and faster to put a lot of paint down, and then I can just simply wipe it off. And then as we go over here, maybe it's a little bit more shadowy. There, that's nice. And we'll put some rocks and whatnot around all this. I just gotta get the water in. There we go. I'm just adding a little bit of grass to this side, just kind of getting it ready for what's gonna happen. And now let's grab just a dark color on the filbert brush. And right around here, by the way, I did take a shop towel, just a blue shop towel, and I wiped my water in the vertical direction. You can see that it cleaned it up a little. And I like that vertical direction because it looks like shallow water that way. Typically when you go side to side, it looks like kind of deep water. If you pull straight down, it looks to me a little bit more like shallow water. Maybe that's just me. Right here, see that? Bet you weren't expecting that. A sharp rock that pokes right up, even sharper, right up out of the, why not, right up out of the water. If you do a turtle, you can change it. See that? Boom, boom. And a couple turtles aren't bad. I've got turtles in every one of my paintings, but it's a matter of balancing it all out. There you go. I do have full-length lessons on rocks, which are available there on the website if you need more information and more of a lesson on rocks. Because I know rocks can be a little tricky, for sure, when you're first learning them. Now I've changed to the 1/4 inch flat brush only because it's a little easier to get a nice neat line when I pull, that nice straight feathered edge. And I'm just gonna pull reflections. This is easy because I wiped that canvas off. It's fairly dry. Good, and I'm more or less trying to mirror the shape of the rocks. You know, if there's a blank spot, I'll try to leave a blank spot. It doesn't have to be perfect. And if you make a mistake, it's easier rather than trying to go back with your watercolor, just add a rock. You know, if I put a reflection where I didn't want a reflection, like, oops, you know, well, it almost looks like I painted a rock right. I'm just not even gonna touch it. That's great. Sometimes things just fall out of the brush. Not always, but sometimes they do. But you know what I mean. If you make a reflection that has no rock above it, don't stress about it. Just paint the rock above it. That's what I was trying to illustrate when I accidentally painted the rock and the reflection all in one stroke. Oh, wow. How fun is that? Now, I've got a rock right down here in the foreground. I'm actually going to highlight it next. Seems a little weird and out of order, but I just want to get on. This is more for me to kind of get the feeling of the painting. I just want to see how much detail and whatnot we're going to need. And I'll balance these rocks to this rock, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if it does make sense, but if it doesn't, you'll kind of see what I mean. I just need to be able to see what I'm doing. See that? Little highlight goes a long way. It's pretty. Good texture, lots of texture. I can build that up. I'm using my 3/4 brush. I'm using it like a palette knife almost. See that? And that's okay. It's something I can do because, now let me change to my little 1/4. See, I try to save them, you know, one for light, one for dark. Obviously, saves you time and paint. And who doesn't like to save time and paint? Now, something that's kind of interesting and neat that's going on here in this painting are my corners. The corner I just messed around there and finished that rock, and then this corner being big, fluffy grass with some flowers or something. And maybe not flowers, maybe seed pods or whatever. I don't know that we want flowers. This doesn't scream springtime to me. So maybe flowers wouldn't be the best choice. But you know what? Whatever. If you want flowers, put them in. But here's my thought. See, I've got these kind of foreground elements, and it's helping to bring me forward. And then it's just, I don't know, creating some depth. I like it. There we go. It's okay to encourage yourself. If you don't encourage yourself while you paint, I can't imagine that. You know, I can't imagine how that would be tough. I like to encourage myself when I paint. I think it helps. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some detail to these trees. I spent just a moment ago, with the detail brush and some black and just whatever dark color, pulling out some of these branches, making it look a little less like I did it in 2 seconds, if you know what I mean. But now, the important part, I'm going to get these highlights in. I'm just dabbling on this paint. If you need to wipe these trees, or you wouldn't want to wipe them, certainly, but you could blot them, just like I did over here, if you feel the need. Right now, I'm okay. If the paint starts to become muddy, believe me, I will stop and I will address it. But so far, we seem to be doing okay. We'll just put on layer after layer. You know, trees are not just one color. There's so many colors in trees. At least, if you can get 5 colors in there, then you'll be somewhere. I'm not interested in a tree that has 2 colors. 5 colors would be great. And more is even better. You can't overdo color. You just can't. Sorry, not possible. Because in nature and in reality, it's just unlimited colors in everything. Everything has unlimited colors because it's reflecting things around it. I'm just going to highlight a couple of these rocks here, just this little patch of rocks. I don't need too many individual rocks. If you do too many that are just individual, it'll look far too close. So in order for it to look nice and far away, you need to have these not too individual. And as always, if you need to wipe the canvas off, that will help your paint stick a lot better. Now I'm going to tap in some grass here, some highlight to our grass right around these rocks. I think it was good to get the rocks finished first, although you could certainly do this the other order around. It wouldn't really, I don't think it would change much. Just tapping. At this point, you know, we can add liner brush grass, but I just want to tap on some amount of grass just like this. And I don't know that I want it too brown. I'm going to put in just a little bit of green to that. See that? I don't want it too, oh, there it is right there. Nice little bit of brown, or green rather than brown. So you play around with your colors. I do want a lot of color, even in this grassy area. So that's good. I will leave that orange because I put it in, so that's just another color. There you go. I'm just gonna tap right here. Large strokes to create some grassy textures. There we go, lots of color. Some of that red in there is good. A little bit of green, of course, is nice as well. And this is just a backdrop for my liner brush grass. There you go. Just a little of that back up in here, maybe. I don't want too much bright. Now, if we come over here to the left, it could be interesting if we want to just get in a little. Look at this. Right here, just here, I see some land here in between these tree lines. So let's put a little right there. That's neat. Yeah, I like that. And what that is doing is it's creating just a little, boom, a little highlight, a little light shining right through that. And then I'm going to probably come back with a liner brush and add little extra bonus highlights here. Of course, if that's overdone, I can tone it down, but we'll see when I step back what it looks like. So now I'm going to go ahead and just drop in a few blades of grass. This will help to just finish up this area. Very nice. Don't need much. And maybe just take some red, yellow oak or something, I don't know. And just dot on, I don't know, seed pods, leaves, not necessarily flowers, but just something there to bring in a little bit more interest to that area. I think that that's really all we're going to need. It's just a little, not a lot. A lot of that was already accomplished with the underpainting that we did with the fan brush, so it doesn't require that much. Maybe even a white, just to look like I don't know, something like a dried up seed pod or something. I don't really know that it matters, you know. Just something. A highlight on this rock, I would do it with a liner brush. And I'm a big fan. I didn't used to do this, but I'm a big fan of this now, which is, you know, anything you want finished with a high level of detail or highlight, just hit it with the liner brush at the very end. It's like all these rocks and stuff. Rather than trying to get a whole bunch of more highlight on them, I just hit them once or twice with the liner brush. Call it good. And it's not really, to me, not that slow. A little bit slow, but it's not that slow. So we'll spend a few minutes on this. Even, you know, tree trunks and stuff, you can do whatever you want. Tree trunk, maybe. Showing in that tree would be a good thing. Well, that about wraps things up for today. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing this painting. Don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. That helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.